This is making my head pound, Mr. Attorney General, because how would the president and Eric Holder just, I mean, it's one thing for the president to invent these powers with executive orders, but to just blatantly ignore the Supreme Court?
Well, Andrew, this is deeply disturbing because it is clearly an attempt for the Obama administration to wire around that recent United States Supreme Court ruling that freed Texas to be like other states in this country, to exercise its own sovereign authority to determine our own election laws. And now that we've been freed by the United States Supreme Court, the Obama administration wants to put Texas election laws back under their thumb.
You should create a bumper sticker that says, Texas, free at last. Now, what authority would he be exercising if the president or the DOJ start to mess with Texas voter laws? Wouldn't you be able to say, Mr. President, we don't have to listen to you. The Supreme Court already said we're operating within the law.
That's part of what we're going to be arguing. This matter that the Obama administration is weighing in on is in a proceeding already in court in San Antonio. We're going to have hearings on it probably coming up in August, to the latest in September, where we'll be arguing in part that all this stuff is moot, but also arguing in part the Obama administration doesn't have any authority to step in this way. But also, I mean, you raised the larger point, and that is this is really all about partisan politics. This is the Obama administration trying to use the shield of the Voting Rights Act, but really turning it into a sword to carve up Texas for their own political gain.
But states have redistricting activities all the time. I mean, we just here in New York got rid of Anthony Weiner's district. People didn't start freaking out and running to the federal government over that. I mean, it happens all the time. I mean, there are so many gerrymandered districts in this country. Now they're upset at Texas?
And let me explain to you why. And that's because over the past few elections, Texas has done an outstanding job, a superior job, of connecting the Hispanic community and the Republican Party. In 2010, Texas Republicans elected to the state legislature 4 Hispanic state representatives plus 1 Hispanic United States congressman. After that, the Democrats got concerned during the redistricting process, and they brought a lawsuit to remove 4 Hispanic Republicans from office and in their place put Democrats, claiming they needed to make these changes for the Voting Rights Act. Clearly, their use of the Voting Rights Act has harmed Hispanic Republicans at their own partisan gain. That's highly inappropriate.
The other thing I don't understand is the voter ID law thing. I mean, whether it's Georgia or Texas or any other state with voter ID laws, they're applied to everyone. Everyone has to have ID. They have provided no proof that 1/4 of black Americans or 1/4 of Hispanic Americans lack ID. Nobody believes that. But the Constitution clearly states that voter laws are in the hands of state governments, and the only thing a state government can't do is deny the vote based on race, directly deny it based on race, not a voter ID law, gender, and age of majority. So it seems like the federal government and Barack Obama are concocting these oppositions to voter ID laws.
Absolutely correct. And remember this, the United States Supreme Court has already ruled that voter ID laws are perfectly constitutional. And remember that the United States Department of Justice has already argued in the United States Supreme Court that voter ID laws are necessary and helpful to prevent things like voter fraud. And then 2 more factoids, and that is, of course, at the last Democrat National Convention, they required photo IDs in order to get into the convention. Now, supposedly they were not racially discriminatory at that time, but somehow they are racially discriminatory when people go cast the most important thing they can do, which is a vote in democracy. It doesn't even make sense.
You know, it seems like, and they've, been very successful in flipping Florida blue. Florida used to send very conservative Republican Hispanics to the House and the Senate. Now it seems like that they've got their way in Florida. The big one here is they got California. California used to be a pretty conservative state, too. They've got to get Texas, and they're going to do it by any means necessary.
That's a fair warning shot, Andrew, and that is, we think that's exactly what this fight is all about. The Obama administration and the liberal agenda realize that with Texas's 38 electoral college votes, if Democrats can begin to win that, they will never lose another election for president. So this is a fight using Texas as the target, but trying to wage a battle for the future of America. If they succeed, they will be able to run roughshod over conservative policies like what we have in the state of Texas, and they will be able to put their liberal imprint on this country for decades to come.
Somebody